All right. Good morning, Dolphin fans. So, now if you've been watching any of my content for the last 8 years, mostly hockey, but now football, you know that I can always find something to bitch about. So, I'm just going to start us off with really the only thing there is to bitch about, and that is, and I'll ask your opinion here, Trey, just how bad was that pick six?
Oh man. Well, it was the exact opposite of the last time Mike White gripped it and ripped it
Yes,
against the
it was.
Broncos. The
Yeah.
exact opposite. But you know what? Anytime he lets go of that ball, someone's going to the end
There you go. See,
zone.
Trey's here to put a positive spin on anything. I love it. That's
I always
beautiful.
say that if someone's like 8 of 9, but the one incompletion's a pick, it's like, hey, ball's never hit the ground today.
Yeah. It's perfect day. That was, and we're gonna get to the game, but that was one of the worst pick sixes I've ever seen. No idea where that poor man was throwing the ball. I mean, to say he threw it right to him is an understatement. So anyway,
I just thought
um,
it wasn't Tua this time.
Yeah. No, it worked out. It worked out that way that it wasn't Tua. We don't need any of that action right now. We're 5-1 and tied for the best record in the NFL with the Detroit Lions.
Who called that? A
I
Lions Dolphins Super Bowl.
oh my God, the Dan Campbell revenge game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll be the Dan Campbell Bowl.
yeah. All right, I like that idea. So again, it's almost like a repeat of last week. All we want to do against these teams is get in, get out, and stay healthy. And damn it, almost in the same exact time frame as we lost to Chan the week before, Chris Brooks goes down. Now, I perused Twitter a little bit. They're saying ankle, right? So there's no news about like we're looking at his knee or anything like that. So even if it's a high ankle sprain, I mean they carted him off. Um, doesn't sound like it's anything season ending, but I was screaming for that kid, man. I was like, get Mostert off the field. He's 31 years old, right? Don't wear a dude out. And they put him out there, and Brooks looks like he's the freaking next version of Eric Dickerson, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah. So, but
It
other than
seemed
that,
like
go ahead.
it seemed like the cart was precautionary more than
Right.
anything from what they were
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, he still ended up on a cart. It looks like he'll be out for a few weeks.
Right.
It may coincidentally be him and Achan out for the same amount of time.
Right. Right.
Which that was
So
really unfortunate for anybody who was in the chat because I almost lost. I almost lost to someone who started Zach Moss and Salvin Ahmed as his running backs.
yee.
And if anybody's
Yee.
wondering why did he do that, this is how 16-team leagues are.
Yeah.
His other choices at running back were Zeke Elliott or Samaje Perine. He is down on his guys.
Yeah.
So before the game, I was like, this is awesome. I got an easy win today. And then
Yeah.
garbage time happened in both of those games.
Right.
And think about what needed to happen. I know I'm going on a rant about fantasy, but think about what needed to happen, guys. It had to get to garbage time. And then Chris Brooks, the garbage time back, had to get hurt in garbage time for Ahmed to then get a touchdown.
Right.
I was losing my shit in the chat. Thankfully, the Raiders defense and Brett Maher did enough in the 4 o'clock games and we won that shit.
Right.
Woo!
So
I was stressing. That Ahmed touchdown almost killed me.
I know. I feel. Hey, look. I don't know if I've told this story before. I'll make it short. But long time ago, it was I think the second year that Brian Greasy was with the Tampa Bay Bucks. I had a fantasy draft, and I signed up, and it was automated. I forgot I even had the team, and when I remembered I was 0-5. I mean, I literally forgot. Auto drafted the whole thing. I'm like, oh, that's right. And I look and I'm 0-5. And I started working the waiver wire because when I was selling on eBay, so I was always home, and the internet wasn't quite as obvious as it is now.
Right.
So I could work it, and everybody else was at work. I ended up winning the Super Bowl that year with Brian Greasy at quarterback and Sammy Morris as my running back.
Ooh.
Yeah, so you just
That
never
feels like a
know.
16-team league.
Yeah, you just never know. Yeah. So, describe the first quarter for me yesterday.
It felt a lot like the Giants game, honestly. People were very nervous in the chat. People were saying, I knew this was that Dolphins team. This is the same bunch. And you know what? I was nervous for a point, but not because of what was going on the football field. I was nervous because I had talked so much shit about this game, how it was going to be exactly like the Giants game. I talked so much shit about how much Bryce Young stinks. Now I'm sitting here like, I've put my ass out here. If the Dolphins lose this game, I'm going to look like a banana head. But then I realized none of that has to do with actual football.
Right.
So calm down for a second. And that's what I mean. That's what I was talking about last week with the Giants game. Like when your emotions get involved, sometimes you start to go a little crazy about something. Whereas if they're not there, you're able to think clearly just fine.
Yeah.
And I was starting to feel that part yesterday, but I was actually able to realize like you're just embarrassed about the possibility of being wrong, not actually nervous about what the Carolina Panthers are doing.
Right. Yeah, no, it was I can only assume that they just came out sleepwalking. Don't know if they've thought, Carolina was just going to go out there and roll over. Normally our first drive or two is just like beautifully scripted. And some of those plays that were it just was bad. It was just bad the first two drives. And then it's funny because when they made it 14-0, they showed a clip on the sideline and Tua kind of went over to McDaniel and he was just like, I got this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then that was it. It was lights out the rest of the day.
To give Carolina credit for something on their offense, Adam Thielen's still that dude.
Yeah.
Holy hell, why did Minnesota let that guy go? They could really use him right now.
Yeah.
That dude's from Minneapolis, went to the University of Minnesota, ends up on the Vikings. He should have stayed there his whole career.
Yeah, he was rocking and roll. It took Vic Fangio. You can see it because he was brought here to solve the problem of we can only stop teams when we blitz. And he's so reluctant to use it until he's like, damn it, we can only stop these teams until when we blitz. And then he starts blitzing. And then when you saw it on was it the last Carolina drive or was it the last drive? It was the drive before halftime.
Yeah, you mentioned it on the recap.
Yeah, first down, we blitz, nothing. Second down, blitz, nothing. And then all of a sudden we back off, and we play zone, and we get lucky that they missed the field goal and then get a little momentum going there. So you can kind of just tell that he's reluctant. And look, it's not like we have the zero blitz like we did before. But when we rush 4, we're not really getting any pressure. No. But as soon as we rush 5, we're all over them. So rush freaking 5, man. Come on. We got, that's not going to, if we're going to get beaten, if our corners and safeties are going to get toasted because we're rushing 5, we got bigger problems than that,
And that's really where Bryce got the bulk of his yards. And you would have thought, I said this in the chat too, you would have thought back when Tim Tebow was not completing a pass until the fourth quarter, and then he would destroy the prevent defense.
Yeah.
You'd have thought back then coaches would have realized, oh, fuck, even this guy can throw on the prevent. We should probably get rid of the prevent, but everybody still does it.
Yeah, I don't understand that whole thing. But and then Mostert, man, a couple of those runs that he had, he just is refusing to go down.
He's jumping over people.
And it's got to be maddening for the other teams because every time one of our running backs go down, it's just like, all right, print off another one. And we put somebody else out there off the street and he gets 10 yards a carry. It's got to be, it's.
Who else here can run a 4.3?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing with Brooks. He's not the fastest, but he's a slow guy on the team because it's a 4.48, I think is what he was.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what? You could actually do with him? I brought up a couple weeks ago the idea of Achane being that closer back, like how the Cowboys used to use Marion Barber that way.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize at the time when I said that how big Brooks was. Maybe
Right.
he should be the fourth
Yeah.
quarter closer guy.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
dealing with Mostert and Achane having to chase them around all day long, and then you get to the
Right.
fourth quarter, and this big ass dude just comes in running people over.
Yeah.
That'd be really
Yeah.
nice.
No, it is really nice. And look, it's the same thing with the wide receivers. You know, when we made it 35, I'm like, that's it. I want Hill off. I want Waddle off. And a couple people in the chat thought, you know, it wasn't early enough, but it's not like our backups are terrible.
I was right there with you. I mean, as soon as we can get up by 2 or 3 scores, 2 scores if it's late, 3 if it's not.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get 2 out of there.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm the same guy who half jokingly said, I don't want Tua to even start against the Cowboys, but I don't want him on the same field as Michael Parsons. But not joking, when they're up by enough, pull them.
Yeah. I mean, as long as Mike White doesn't throw too many pick sixes, we should be. We should be. You notice they just had him hand off after that. I don't know why he was throwing the ball in the first place. He put him in.
I thought for a second they might have came back in after he threw that.
Yeah. But you don't want to do that to him. That's rough. That's rough. You know what I mean?
But I mean, it's not like baseball where once they're out, they're out. Like
right.
Back in.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be some shit? Starting pitcher comes back in after the relay. You know, it's like let me finish
I'll come back here and finish this shit.
I'll finish this my own job here. Let's see. I'm just trying to think about some of the Chubb actually showed up, right? He would have had 2 sacks, but the one got called back. And and then who else? The secondary, I guess X has got a little bit of a groin thing now, so they're going to have to look at that. We're not exactly hitting the Eagles healthy. However, speaking of things to bitch about that we can't really bitch about, I didn't hear Leo Meikenberg's name called one time yesterday. He was invisible, but he was on the field the whole day. So he must have done something right.
I've said that before about offensive linemen. Offensive linemen are like referees and umpires in the sense of if you don't know their name, they're probably good at their job.
Right.
And if you do know their name, they're either really good at their job or really bad at their job. Yeah. And Liam Eichenberg's name is known for being really bad at his job. But even when he's there, even when he's starting, Dolphins O-line's been really good this year.
Yeah.
Like if we were gonna bitch as much as we bitched in previous years,
right?
Let's give them all the credit and shine right now.
Yep.
Dolphins O-line, even with the injuries, might be the best O-line in football. Tua's not getting sacked. The running backs are averaging 10 yards a carry, all of them. Like,
right? Yeah, I know, right?
What you want from that O-line? They're great.
And the play design, that one little handoff to Tyreek, where like the one running back is going behind Tua, and instead of pitching it, he just like kind of gives it to. I mean, just like some of the play designs.
Pick your poison.
And to contrast that, did you see the end of the Jets or the Giants game last night with the Bills?
I did not. I heard about it.
Right.
I did not see it.
The point being the contrast of the play calling. Giants need a touchdown. They're like at the 1 yard line. They need a touchdown to win the game, and it ends up incomplete. And the play design is like if you got toddlers out there, they ran 3 receivers, and I swear to God, they didn't run routes. It was like they just all ran straight, and the one guy fell down. And so a lot of it is play design. You know, there's a part to it that's play design. But I mean, when you
they even have the one thing the Dolphins offense doesn't have. They have a star tight end, and that's really good to have at the 1 yard line.
Yeah. No, and I think that's who they were trying to get it to. I'm not sure who it was. It was a whole controversy about whether it should have been pass interference or not. As a Dolphin fan, you know, if it was going to go against the Bills, it'd be like, it should have been pass interference. I kind of see both arguments, but for me, you know, I look at things deeper and I'm like, that play design was so bad, you deserve to lose. Like that's what you draw up when you need a touchdown to beat one of the top teams in the league. You deserve to lose. It was just bad. So I give McDaniel. And then the in fact, I just put out a video a couple of minutes ago about it, about the flip from Tyreek with the phone. And I mean, that whole thing, that was so beautiful. And it's just such a shame that the league, he's getting fined. It's not just taunting penalties. He's getting fined for this crap.
He got it for giving his mom a football. Like, they're gonna do it to him for anything. Like,
yeah, no, it's almost like as soon as he scores, they're already throwing the flag. You know what I mean?
They're saying that for this one, it was because you can't use a prop.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
As if Joe Horn's cell phone isn't like one of the most iconic celebrations in the NFL.
Yeah. Well,
T.O. with the pom-poms, T.O. with the Sharpie.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Come on, man.
Well, and the thing of it is, it's just like, man, with everything, with all the stress that everybody's under, with everything that's going on in the world,
Chad Johnson with the Hall of Fame jacket. Yeah, there's a lot of good celebrations of props.
Yeah. I mean, they need to ease up with that a little bit. You know what I mean? Not my cup of tea. But to it is thing. I think Tyreek said he got 6 IVs during the game. Right?
Makes sense. There was a lot of cramps out there. There was a lot of dudes getting cramps.
Yeah, a lot of the Panthers were dropping like flies towards the end of the game. Kyle still marvels at the design of the stadium, man, where they just sit there and cook while the Dolphins are in the shade.
It is arguably, I definitely think it is for football, but across all sports, Miami in September, I know it's not September right now, but Miami in September is the best home field advantage in sports.
Yeah.
Even when the Dolphins suck, they're going to win their home games in September. Even when it was Tom Brady and the Patriots, like, well, that's unfortunate for you. You got scheduled in September. Like, it did not matter who they were playing or how bad they were. They're winning that game.
Yep. No,
like I said, even October is technically not September, but as far as South Florida is concerned, it's
May
still
as well.
September.
Yeah, I mean,
it's September and January.
If you get the Ravens coming down there now, it's 56 degrees right now, and it is warmed up a bit. It was like 42 and breezy this morning. You get the Ravens go down there now when it's 90 in that Super Bowl, it's gonna melt like butter. Yeah,
I think it's the best home field advantage in sports. And then, like you said, the stuff that Kyle marvels at, the fact that they have it to where the sun's always shining down on the visitor bench and the Dolphins are always on the shady side. Like, that put thought and detail into that. Doesn't happen on accident.
No, that's like some Dr. Evil shit.
Savagery.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm here for it.
Now we have to move on. And now I don't know what I'm more concerned with. I don't know if I'm more concerned with the Florida Panthers going into our home opener against Toronto, who's wanting to beat our ass at a possible 0-3, or now we got to play the Eagles pissed off that they just lost to the Jets.
I don't know if that's necessarily going to matter. This is the second part, because the Jets have almost beat a lot of people, even beat Buffalo, beat Buffalo, almost beat Kansas City. The Eagles almost lost to Washington, almost lost to somebody else. They were both kind of doing that. Like, the Jets were real close to knocking people off, and the Eagles were real close to getting knocked off. I understand they're still going to be pissed off about that. But that I didn't pick that, but it wasn't surprising at the same time. Like, that was the recipe was there. Yeah. And the only thing you got to do to beat the Eagles is stop the run. How about that, Dolphins?
Yeah.
All you got to do to beat them is stop the run.
You're not helping. Well, our run defense, no. If anybody,
that's what's got me nervous. Like,
if anybody ever decided
to beat Philadelphia, we don't have the tools to follow the blueprint.
No. If anybody ever decided we're just going to run the ball every play against the Dolphins, they might win that game. You know what I mean? Like, remember when
don't
Belichick?
Let that secret out.
Oh well, I think that secret's out. I mean, it's so inconsistent. But you know what's weird is, like, I know Fangio's afraid of the blitz and the run defense, but even on the times when we blitzed, we stopped them. It's just, for whatever reason, we're just not. We need 5 guys up front. It just is what it is. And with our linebacker play, I don't really mind it anyway. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, just put Long and Baker out there and let Van Ginkel kind of roam around a little bit. You know, what we don't have. I mean, the defense is average to above average. You know, slight above average. What we don't have is, I mean, not just that we don't have like a Jason Taylor or a Zach Thomas, but we don't even have like a Jeff Cross or a Cam Wake, right? We don't really have that guy. Like Cameron Wake, it was 3rd and 8, just punt now. Just punt now. If Cameron Wake was on the field and healthy, and it was just forget about it. Okay. It's going to be 4th and 15, and he might cause a fumble. You just knew. And we don't have that guy, you know.
We do have a Jalen Ramsey coming back, though.
Well, he was back yesterday.
I understand.
Yeah.
That's corner. But in the same way, everybody talks about it the one way, but nobody talks about it going the other way, about how a front seven can greatly enhance a secondary, which obviously is true. But a great secondary can also enhance a front seven, because if you just have that extra half second of people not being open, because Jalen has his guy covered and X has his guy covered.
Yeah.
If the quarterback can hold on to the ball for even just an extra half second, that can let our 4 guys get to the quarterback. So it does go both ways.
Right.
So hopefully bringing Jalen back, the receivers can be covered up for just a hair longer and give our guys just a hair more time to get to the quarterback.
Yeah. I think Jalen's supposed to show up at practice this week. I don't know exactly what kind of work he's supposed to do. But then, of course, X has got a little bit of a groin thing going. And, I mean, we've still got a few games to play before the bye. So, you know, groins.
It'd be a lot better if it was New England, Philly, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because New England would just be like these last 2 weeks. It's like, no matter what happens, this team's not going to score.
Right.
So it's okay.
Right.
Like even when the Panthers got that touchdown, it's like, okay, that's all they're going to score.
I can't. I almost forgot to talk about this. I'm sure Pat McAfee has talked about it, but the headbutt from the punter. I mean, that was.
I like
great.
that guy.
Yeah. I forgot totally about that. I'm sure McAfee probably led the show off with that. I'll have to check that out, because that was first he pushes the guy, and then Good's just standing like, what? And then he literally walks up and headbutts him, and you're like, did he really just do that? You know, but he just gets a penalty. Tyreek gets fined for the phone thing. You know what I mean?
Player safety, everybody.
Yeah. Does it ever? You know what? I was gonna say something, but I don't
cut down on head injuries, guys.
Freaking the punter headbutts the guy. That was crazy. So, yeah, I know what you're saying about Philadelphia. We got to stop the run. We got to do somehow a little bit better against the run. I mean, the Panthers, those first 2 games, their first 2 drives yesterday, I thought this is going to be a long day, and I'll give Fangio credit. He made some adjustments there. He clearly needed to, and we pulled off what we needed to pull off. And other than Chris Brooks getting hurt and Mike White playing the role of Ray Lucas, everything else was fine. So now we just got to come. I say go into Philadelphia, but for me, it's like come into Philadelphia, because I'm 90 minutes that way is Philadelphia, right?
Let's go to the game.
And for me, it's a home. Yeah, I ain't going into Philadelphia wearing a Dolphins jersey. Hell no. Okay.
Go on, Kyle.
Well, yeah. Kyle and I got 3 options. We can go into Philly, Baltimore, or DC. And we could, and no, I'm not that brave. You know what I mean?
I guess DC if you had the choice.
Yes.
Baltimore's rough as a city, but I've never heard their fans being no, you're a lot closer, so maybe you can talk about it. I've never heard the fans emulating the city as much as Philly fans are very much like Philly the city. But yeah, I'd still probably go in that order: DC, Baltimore.
The way it worked out is like okay, I knew I wasn't going to a night game in Philly. Okay. And I think the Baltimore game is New Year's Eve. It's either the Baltimore or the Chiefs.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
New Year's Eve.
Probably don't want to
So,
be in Baltimore on New Year's Eve.
yeah, I know. I was like, well, I think we'll just be watching these at home. Not that I got the whole thing where I can't drive over there and all of that. So the work I would have had to put in to get to them when I saw the timing of the games, I was just kind of like, it's probably not going to happen. So
that's unfortunate because we talked about that last year, knowing that they were going to be in Baltimore, and they're like, oh, that'd be cool. Like,
yeah, if it was like a Sunday after,
saying, that'd be cool, like a fly fluffy group trip, but
right,
yeah, it's not gonna work out with it being on New Year's Eve. That's
too tough. So, all right, short and sweet. Are we short and sweet? I don't know. I got my little thing. No, we've been here.
It's short for our standards. Usually we go about 35 minutes.
Yeah, well, when you win, it's easier, and this is not a hockey review. There's a lot less to complain about. Right?
Yeah.
The team right now looks good. We look pretty good. There's some minor issues, but I mean, we're averaging 15 freaking yards a carry with Liam Eichenberg at center. So, I mean, seriously, there's some of those runs that it's like, damn it, they only got 11, and I don't even know how he got tackled. I mean, there's so many chances.
Tua's not getting hit at all.
No.
Like, how many times have you been sacked the entire season? Like 3 times?
Right. No, it's great because these are the same dudes.
Dudes would get him sacked 3 times a half.
Yeah, it's right. That's the crazy part. I mean, and now Greer is kind of probably sitting back and going, told you.
Probably. It's probably a little bit of everything. It's probably a little bit of giving these guys extra time to develop. Tua doing his judo and jiu-jitsu. Like, it's probably a little bit of everything. He's getting the ball out faster. They've gotten better.
Right.
But, Greer does get to sit back and say, how you like me now?
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Dolphin fans, that'll do it for us. I'll be back with some content later on during the week. And then, of course, over on the hockey channel, we got the live stream going on tonight. That starts at 6:30, Panthers against the Devils. Even if you're not a Panther fan, do me a favor and pray that my Panthers win a game, because if the Panthers don't start winning, I might start taking my frustration out on the Dolphins, because there's only so much bitching I can do on the other channel. So I might start bleeding over into this one if the Panthers don't start winning.
We're beating the Leafs. That's how it goes for the Leafs. Think about it.
I hope you're right,
Leafs just did this, that, and a third. They got tougher. They were a poor man's version of that President's Trophy Panthers, and now they're a poor man's version of the Cup Panthers. And they're all ready for this, and it's gonna be like, yeah, you still got your ass whooped by the Panthers.
I hope you're right, man. Because if it goes the other way, I'm just gonna be off of Twitter and off of social media for about a week.
I've been saying that to myself from a side, just looking at everything the Leafs are doing. I just think it's cute. It's like, oh, they went from a poor man's version of us to a poor man's version of the new us.
Right.
Still a poor man's version of the Panthers either way.
All right. You heard it here first. All right, everybody. We appreciate all the support. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I cannot talk.
Headbutt it.
Yeah, headbutt the subscribe button. That's a good one. I like that one. All right, everybody. We'll see you again next week.